Welcome back to Attached Mamas podcast. Today we're going to be talking about postpartum depression and anxiety and sharing our own experiences. So Mel had postpartum depression and I had postpartum anxiety. So between us, we've got it covered, really. This isn't really always an easy conversation to have, but it's a really important one because so many parents go through this often quietly and don't get the help that they need. So in Australia, I think it's 1 in 5 women that will experience postnatal depression or anxiety, and it also affects 1 in 10 men, which I think is something we really don't hear about or talk about at all. And that's a lot, 1 in 10.
Yeah, that's a lot of it.
So before we begin, we just want to say, if anything in this episode brings something up for you, if you're struggling, you are not alone. There is support available for you. There are many free helplines, including specific postpartum ones. If you're in crisis right now, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. And we have a whole list of other numbers and support available, and we'll put it in the caption for this episode.
Beautiful. So before we go into this episode as well, I wanted to acknowledge that we've been talking about our experiences, which has been really nice to hear that it's helped a few people already, just to feel seen and heard, because it's also nice for us to just chat about it. But if we can help someone feel less alone, or maybe validate it, or, oh, wow, me too. That's a gift. So that's beautiful. So I just wanted to acknowledge that this session, after this episode, we're going to be talking about sleep in the next episode, like our experiences
in the first year.
The first year of sleep.
Yeah.
Potentially talk about what is still happening with sleep. I don't know. We'll see, depending time-wise. But then moving forward after that episode, we're just going to be talking about our experiences as mums, and it's just going to be way more casual,
flexible,
and then referring to attachment constantly. Because, for example, we had dinner last night.
Oh my gosh!
And I swear we could have just recorded like parts of that dinner, maybe not all of them.
It should have been like a bonus episode, Mel and Sarah's dinner out.
I know, because it's like we're talking about like generational traumas and like attachment, and I'm like, okay, well, this could have just been an episode.
I know.
So that's what I look forward to.
Yes.
Like, I'm really happy we're talking about these things, but it's also like for future episodes we can refer back.
Yes, so we'll have like these kind of 6 core episodes at the start, which is our first year postpartum, and then it'll just be mum life through the lens of attachment, why we care about this stuff.
Exactly. Or as Mr. Love, a biology teacher at high school, used to say, exact raimundo.
Is that where that comes from? Because Rowan says that sometimes.
I think people just say it because it's exactamundo. I don't remember where it's from.
It's from something,
But I mean, like, you add the raimundo and it's just perfect.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, me, Mel, and my husband Rowan all went to high school together.
So we all know Mr. Love.
We all know Mr. Love.
Love Mr. Love.
Love Mr. Love. All right, postpartum mental illness.
Fun times.
How do you want to start this conversation?
I think the question that I would ask you first is, we talked previously about, birth prep and pregnancy and all of these preps that we did.
Yes.
And like, we did a bit of prep for postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
You did way more freezer prep than I did.
Yeah.
So this time I'm doing that differently.
Yes.
But let's just start with that, because although we may have touched on in previous episodes, you had anxiety beforehand.
I did, yeah.
I had depression beforehand too, but it was on and off.
Yes.
Did you do any prep, or, were you aware of it? Did you talk to Rowan about it? Like, was there anything that you did heading into it, like, this could be an issue, or you didn't really think of it that it could be an issue?
It's so interesting. And again, obviously this conversation is like, talking it's 3 years ago that I was at the start of my pregnancy now, more than 3 years ago, which is crazy. So I obviously, like, I was loosely aware of the concept of postpartum mental illness. I didn't know anyone that had gone through it that had spoken to me about it. I'm sure there are people in my life that went through it, but not that I knew about. And I'm just trying to think of where my head was at, but I wonder if I actually thought rather than being more vulnerable, I was kind of in some way immune because I'd had so much anxiety.
And you've done so much work.
Done so much therapy.
Yeah.
I wonder now in hindsight, I didn't have this thought at the time, but I was thinking about it today because we were recording this today, and I was like, I wonder if I just thought, but I've already had anxiety and I've done the work, so it won't.
I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it happens, I'm okay.
Kind of, or just like, it won't happen again. Was I just naive? I just don't know.
Optimistic.
It's certainly, and yeah, we spoke about this right at the start in episode 1. It is my biggest like message to my former self, if I could send a message, or it's what I would do so differently for another, is to have a proper plan in place for mental health support postpartum. Yeah, I kind of felt like, oh well, I've had that. And that's not the only mental illness I've had. You know, I've had so much mental illness. I've had so much work, and I was in such a good place. I kind of was like, already done that. Now I'm recovered. It's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a hard thing because now I'm just going to put therapist hat on. Because when I work with people, and there's some people that I work with for years, because there are things that we face, or, you know, challenges that we face in life that does take a long time in therapy.
Yeah.
So I have seen clients for years at a time, and I see their pain of they get through something and then something else happens, and it's just like, oh my gosh, and it's the exhaustion of like, am I not getting better?
Yeah.
And I say to them, you are getting better. It's like, I know the lame metaphor, but it's like going to the gym, you know. The first time you go is really hard.
Yeah.
You know, trying to change your habits, trying to, you know, get to this certain level of fitness and include nutrition. So you have all of this to really commit. But then let's say sickness hits you. You can't go to the gym, let's say for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
And you go back and it almost feels like you're starting from scratch, but you're not.
Yeah.
Because your muscles remember.
Yeah.
And it's the same with mental health.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can do. We can do journaling, we can work on our strategies, and we have someone that we're talking to regularly.
Yes.
When we stop talking to that person regularly, it very slowly all the other habits start to step away.
Yeah.
You know, we forget the journaling. You know, we forget the strategies, we forget the breathing exercises, and it's just natural. We go on with our very busy lives in our society.
Yeah.
And that if we do go back into a therapy process, or even not going back into the therapy process, but we bring back those like strategies and things that we learned, it's faster than the first time you did it.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my clients is like, see, so I've had clients where they're in a very dark place, because that's my specialty, is teenage self-injury, non-suicidal self-injury, and suicidal ideation. It's pretty dark stuff. And when they get back to a dark place, literal dark place, it's amazing to see how fast they come out of it when they just activate those strategies again.
Yes.
Or even just talking to someone else like me.
Yeah.
But it is, I hope that helps too, of like, it's like we think that we're done because it feels like it. It's like you're already fit. You're like, I'm an Adonis. And then it's like,
And I think as well, the other piece for me is like the postpartum anxiety I experienced is by far the worst anxiety I've ever had in my life. And in terms of my experience with anxiety before that, anxiety was always kind of like the little friend behind what was a huge monstrous eating disorder, right? And a lot of the work I did in therapy again and again and again was to tackle the eating disorder. And whilst I always acknowledged with my therapist, and I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, like we knew that was there, it wasn't really damaging and threatening my life in the same way that the other beast kind of was. So I think, again, this is all just in hindsight, but I think the only kind of headlights or blinkers I had on as this could be a problem was, how's my body going to change and is that going to impact me?
Yes,
and then when that was so positive and I was like, this is great, I just kind of felt invincible. And I just forgot about little anxiety friend in the corner.
That grew really big, really
that
fast.
Then turned into like this huge, scary monster.
Or just stayed small and just kept attacking you. I'm just imagining this little like thing. I'm imagining it fluffy and being like, like in your face.
Oh, yeah. So I think it's probably a combination of things for me. But I do want something I want to highlight in this episode. Obviously, anxiety and depression are different, but I think a big message that I just really want to put out to people, and when you share your story, it will come through, is the difference being prepared and having support set up makes. Because I feel like we both got to quite dark places separately, but you were so much faster at identifying where you were at and asking for help and getting that help in place very quickly. And I think it pulled you out faster. I
don't know if it was because I had more support than you did, though.
Right.
I think it was just purely because of my profession.
Yeah.
And actually applying it. So there's a lot of people in my profession.
Yes.
It's just so frustrating, but a lot of people in my profession that don't actually take their advice, that don't practice what they preach. I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Yeah.
But that was one of my biggest things.
Yeah.
Was, whoa, this is getting a bit too scary. I need to ask for help.
Yeah.
And that voice in my head was like, you don't deserve help.
Mm-hmm.
And I forced it. So I'll go there soon. But it was like, it was not necessarily, I don't know if I had, because the support that I got was, that helped the most was Sven and doctors.
Yes.
And you had that. You had Ro.
Yes, but I didn't get doctors for a while.
Yes. And also when I say you had Ro as well, it's like I had Sven, and I guess that's also different, is that we had a different dynamic.
Yes.
Because I prepared Sven a lot for my mental health.
Yes. Yeah.
So leading up to postpartum, that was the biggest prep that I did, actually, was prepping Sven for how I could be.
Yes.
Because I was like, just FYI, your wife is going to change.
100%.
So I made so that he was really aware.
Yeah.
And so when I communicated it to him, it was kind of like, it was terrifying, but it was also not, it wasn't so shocking, I guess is the word.
I think the other thing as well is that appointments and my experience of perinatal care was kind of preparing you to look out for depression, not for anxiety.
I was going to ask that.
And I think that is another thing that
I was going
needs to change, because I do think sometimes depression can be easier to spot or easier to identify, especially for someone like you that is self-aware and has had it before. The warning signs are clearer, and it can be life-threatening. It just can be more dangerous more quickly, right? And I think with anxiety, it's so insidious and it just chips away at your well-being day after day. But you don't. Well, my experience with anxiety, I'm not having thoughts about whether I want to be here or not. I'm not having those extreme thoughts that can come with depression.
Yes.
So it also doesn't raise red flags for Rowan as much as it might for Sven, because it's, and then there, what level of anxiety is normal for a new mum, and it's the lines are blurry and it's less defined. And I feel very much that we were being told to look out for postpartum depression, and the conversation needs to shift more to just postpartum mental health in general, because there are other conditions that thankfully neither of us have experienced, like postpartum psychosis. Like there's so much that can happen with your mental health postpartum.
Yeah. And it's usually stuff that is usually lurking or stagnant, or what's the word? I don't know, pregnancy brain, but it's there. And then the pregnancy is like the catalyst. It's the same as autoimmune disorders and diabetes and things like that can actually be triggered by pregnancy.
Yes.
So similarly, mental health,
Absolutely.
But I was going to ask you if you thought, because as a friend, sister, and therapist, I think I have a different perspective of it. So for me, postpartum anxiety is so clear as day.
Yeah.
But everyone I know that has had postpartum anxiety, which is a lot of people. So it's not just, I've had friends, I've had my siblings.
Yes.
I've had, my mom. Like even as a therapist, a lot of clients. So I've seen the spectrum.
Yeah.
No one was prepared for it.
Mm.
No one was prepared for anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Like, it's not really talked about much, is it? Do you feel like it's talked about
I don't
much?
feel like it's talked about as much as
Depression.
as
That's what I mean.
the depression is. I really don't. And I think for first-time parents that haven't had lots of people around them having babies, like for Rowan and myself, it really, I mean, I would love to ask him when he first realised what a big problem it was. You know, it's hard to identify because obviously you've got this newborn and you're scared that something might happen to them and you want to protect them. I think that's a very universal, normal experience. But when it gets to the point that you feel like can't leave the house, you know, I was having, sorry if this triggers anyone, but like I have a very, very vivid imagination. And one of the things that happens to me is I won't just have a thought, I'll actually see what would happen if it happens. So for example, we live upstairs and I was convinced that I was going to drop and he was going to fall down the stairs and be killed. And I would see that very, very vividly in my mind again and again.
But what would that make you feel in your body? Like,
sheer terror, and then I can't do that. That's completely unsafe for me to do that. If that's
so, then what would you do walking down the stairs? Like, how would you change?
We just didn't go out, Mel.
You just didn't go out. Okay.
We just didn't go out. No, we didn't go out. Or I would be like one hand on the railing, holding like very tight, and just like the terror of like you would think I was, you know, walking through fire. It was outrageous.
The reason I ask what it made you feel and what, because I remember, and so that's also why maybe this validates something for you. I don't know.
Yeah. But
like those thoughts, I don't know how right this is to say this, like, because at this stage, I don't think I had the depression yet. But I remember being at the wharf, holding baby C and saying to Sven, like I was holding him a little bit tighter, but like still I was saying to Sven, I just had a really weird thought that like he could just fall in the water and like drown and die. And Sven was like, I had that too.
Yes. And I think
so we both had the thought, but it didn't go further than that.
Yes.
It was like I held him a little bit tighter, but it didn't progress. So that's why I was like, I don't know if that helps you to know that it's like the thought itself is maybe kind of normal hormonally and you have this little bundle that you have to protect.
Yep.
It's just the next.
And this is those blurry lines because intrusive thoughts is a common experience, I think, for so many new mothers, and it doesn't progress to a postpartum mental illness. You know, these are just your brain trying to make sure you keep this new precious thing so safe. But for me, it just became like an obsession over and over. And my biggest thing was sleep. And I just convinced myself that he was going to die in his sleep.
And there's so much information about SIDS. Like, it's almost too much.
It's almost too much. I actually had to delete Instagram for a while because I don't know how it happened, but somehow the algorithm knew I was a new mum and was sending me horrible things about people whose babies had.
It's also what you click.
Yes,
because I've never clicked one, so I never get it.
Yeah, I got rid of Instagram for a while, and then when I brought it back, anytime I saw anything, I right-clicked like. Not interested, like right click, don't show me, and now I don't get them anymore.
That's good.
But I was so like I was absolutely petrified, and I think it's understandable that I was petrified because when I was 3 weeks old, we did have a scary incident where I couldn't wake him, and we had to go to emergency and get him checked out. We spent a few days in the hospital, and thankfully he was fine. It's called a BRUI, brief resolved unresponsive event, or something like that. But
also, because he was a good sleeper as a newborn.
He was a good sleeper as a newborn.
Which means that he
would sleep for quite a few hours at a time.
Yeah.
And I was not sleeping. I was absolutely terrified. I was standing over his little bassinet watching him breathe the whole night, unable to sleep. Convinced myself something was going to happen, wouldn't allow myself to introduce a bottle or to have any support that way. I wanted to exclusively breastfeed. I really did, but I wasn't. Like I couldn't enable myself to lighten that load on myself at all because I'd read something about exclusive breastfeeding reducing the risk of SIDS. So my brain turned that into if I give him a bottle of formula, he's going to die.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, which is obviously so wrong and not, but that's just the extent of it. I was just absolutely terrified all the time about something happening to this very, very, very very precious thing. Another story I can think of, which is comical, is I was walking down. Rowan finally convinced me to leave the house. We put R in his pram. We were walking down the road, and I was like stepping so slow. Like I was like, oh. And Rowan was, I think this is when Rowan was realizing something was wrong. And he was like, what are you actually afraid of? And I was like, well, for a start, there's kids about 10 meters over there kicking a soccer ball around. Like one of them is going to kick it through the fence. It's going to land in the pram and hit R in the head and kill him. And you're about to laugh. Rowan did laugh. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm deadly serious.
I actually imagine it. No, I know.
I'm deadly serious. My brain is actually telling me that is going to happen. Like it was absolutely wild.
I'm sorry. I'm in friend mode, not therapist.
No,
mode,
I want you to be in friend mode.
Laugh.
No.
But I'm just
I can laugh about it now because
I'm like,
it is ridiculous.
But I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at like that. Damn. Like I invite my clients to laugh about themselves because it's just like, holy begolias.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
That would have to have like really good aim.
I know.
Like that's a good shot.
I know.
To get it in through
I know.
Yeah. Damn.
And yeah. So many other examples I could give you, but it was very, very debilitating for me. I wasn't and the way, and I still think it impacts where I am at today because certain patterns that Rowan and I set in motion early on because of my anxiety, we're still in today because it's so hard to break those patterns. And I think I wasn't able to get the help that I needed with as a newborn. And I think this, when we talk about whether babies are easy or not, some are much harder than others. No baby's easy. A lot of what made easy is that I soothed him constantly in my arms on my breast and didn't put him down,
Yeah.
I wasn't having an easy time.
No.
And then if you throw in the anxiety as well.
But also luckily he did settle with that, just to acknowledge for anyone with reflux or colicky babies.
Because nothing works.
It still doesn't work.
Exactly, yeah.
Or very sensitive children. It's like you could still comfort them and hold them.
And they can still be crying. Yeah.
That was our experience.
Yes.
But it's like, luckily with R, he is, the easiness is that he's not sensitive, he wasn't colicky, he wasn't refluxy.
No.
That's what made him easier.
I think he was a very, very normal, he's a normal, sunny-natured baby that obviously wanted to be held and comforted and thankfully was soothed by that. But, he was by no means a pop in a cot and walk away. Like he was cried his mind out until he was picked up.
Excuse me, mother.
Where are you, Mum?
Except in the first 3 months, I just remember that he was like happy in his bassinet. And I'm like,
he never went to sleep in his bassinet. He went to sleep in my arms on the boob, fell asleep, and I could transfer him, and then he stayed asleep for a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Which is, yeah,
I would take that.
Oh, yeah, it was.
But I remember I did this. I have to kind of like find it up again. But I did like a checklist of like the easy baby checklist.
Yes.
And I was like, if you tick like 4 or more, then you have a more difficult baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, and it wasn't for comparison or anything, but it was actually, and I've said this in past episodes, but it was more than anything to have gratitude for certain parts of your experience, certain parts, thank goodness my baby sleeps in the car, for example. There's some babies that just scream in the car. Exactly. So there's like elements to be grateful.
Yes.
And there's elements for compassion for those that don't have it.
Yes.
And to be careful of when we talk about our experiences to other people.
Yes.
Like, I didn't have that.
Yes.
So the same as, for example, if we're talking to someone that we have a hunch, or they may have even told us outright that they struggle with postpartum depression or anxiety, and you haven't, beautiful.
Yes.
Like, have that as a gratitude for yourself and have it as a grace for that person.
Yeah.
It's not to compare and not to say that it's worse than yours.
No.
Because our ego gets very wounded.
Mm.
It's just to say like, wow, like learning how to sit with a person in that,
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't want to be in the mind of someone with anxiety, and I don't think you would want to be in the mind of someone with depression.
No.
No. But I remember I was talking to one of our friends. This was before we had babies. This was at your hens.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we were standing outside of the line of where were we going? We were going to
I think we went to like
Soda Factory.
Factory.
So we were in the line getting into Soda Factory, and we were talking about something, and I said to them, yeah, I have more depression than anxiety. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, doesn't mean it's, they're both pretty bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm fine. Like, it's fine. I'm just more prone to depression than anxiety.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like interesting that people almost find it more saddening for you to have depression. And I'm like, I don't know. I've heard clients with anxiety. I've heard my sister. And I'm like, I would not want to know. No. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
We had this little thing that you said was the anxiety. I have a picture of it, but I'd like you to give it like a face name or like an analogy to describe it so that like we can kind of refer it to that.
Oh, I love it.
But it's like, how would you, and then I could say my depression one, but how would you refer, and I do invite people to do the same as a therapist, kind of not personify it, not make it human, but make it something. How would you describe your anxiety?
I think throughout my life, it's been like a little kind of like a gremlin just kind of causing mischief in the background, but nothing too kind of serious. But it really did become this absolute monster, like this huge, big black cloud which is obviously how people would describe depression, but it was like just like a weight on me all the time and really impacting.
Like something you're wearing?
Yes. Yeah. Something you're wearing and carrying around and not cute.
You almost kind of like can hide from the world.
Yeah.
What color would it be?
Dark. Like a dark purpley, blacky. This is interesting.
It is. And the reason I also like it is, I don't know, maybe it'll help you moving forward, but it's almost then you can give it something that you can then learn to take off.
Yes.
And it becomes like a physical.
Yeah.
Because if it is a gremlin, it's kind of like learning how to be like, not now, gremlin.
Yes.
But if it is a cloak or a coat, it's just like, whoa, I
can remove it. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for me, my depression has always been kind of like, you know, like the cartoons where you've got like, you're happy and fine and everything's good. And then you have like this cloud that comes above your head and just starts raining on your head.
Yes.
I had this old car that had a sunroof, and the sunroof, because it was like from the 80s, started leaking. And I remember one day I was having a really hard day and it started raining and the sunroof was leaking and it was raining on me. And I'm like, yep.
Oh, no.
Sounds about right.
Oh, gosh. I want to just quickly talk about how I got help, and then I want to ask about your experience.
Yes, I want to hear how you got
finish.
Help.
Yeah, so I finally went to my GP and I literally said, I'm pretty sure I have postpartum anxiety. And she was really nice. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let's do, this survey thing. Is it the Edinburgh scale? I don't know.
There's a few of them.
There's a few. And we did this thing and I scored like very, very high. She's like, there's a few options. You can get private help or, and then she talked about Gidget Foundation, which is an incredible charity that gives postpartum mental health support to typically new mums. And I was like, that sounds great. It's free. And I got put on a wait list. And I think I waited like another 3 months to get help, which is totally fine because they're a charity. But I just don't understand why I didn't go and see a private psychologist, because we could have afforded it and Rowan would have been completely supportive. And
that's what your savings is for.
Exactly. I think maybe I was in kind of still a little bit of like denial about how serious it was. I was like, oh, I've got this thing, but I'll get help for it. I don't know. But anyway, Gidget Foundation was amazing. They do stuff online, but I went in person and honestly, it was so good. I saw this amazing lady over a course of like 4 months. I saw her every week and she helped me so much.
Cool.
And then I reached out and got help again when I was doing the transition from like the daycare back to work transition. I saw her again for that and she was so good. And yeah. Anyway, different to me, you had prepared, Sven, and better prepared yourself for what might be coming. So do you want to share a bit about kind of when you saw those red flags or how they how they manifested, and also how much of it do you think was due to the incredibly hard newborn experience you were having?
Yes. Can I firstly say something just about finances?
Yes.
This is my take on it.
Yes.
And talking about attachments, I'll probably bring it up later as well, is like if we're questioning going back to work, if we're questioning, household finances, if we're questioning, using money to see a therapist or using money to help our mental health, it is the question as parents that we should always be asking is, does this help my child's life?
Yes.
Because the thing is that postpartum and even parenting little ones is a time in our life. But for them, it is the foundation for the rest of their life.
Yes.
It is the foundation of their nervous system.
Yes.
That they're going to carry their entire life.
Yes.
So for us, postpartum, maybe a couple of years.
Yes.
For them, it's how mum was.
Yes.
For the most foundational moments of my life.
Exactly.
So that's what I invite people to ask is like, how important is, mum's mental health and you being present for your child and your family and your home for your child.
Yes.
And sometimes it's easier for us to make that decision then because we're making it for someone else, not for us.
Yes, that's such a good point.
Because we're really like, we don't believe we deserve it.
Yes.
Or it's like, oh, it's too expensive. And it's just like, yeah, but it's for your child.
Yes.
So that's what I invite people to think about it. It's also just like, if you have to go back to work at 3 months postpartum, for example, what are the things that I can do? Can I co-sleep so that I'm closer with my baby?
Yes.
What are the other beautiful daycares nearby?
Yes.
Do I really need that money?
Yes.
Is it to pay mortgage and bills, which is necessity?
Yes. Or is it to maintain a certain lifestyle?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Is it for savings and for holidays? And it's just like, is that really important?
Yeah.
Because the first 3 years of life is so crucial for attachment.
100%.
So that's my question. That's just all I wanted to say about the finances thing is, especially as a therapist, the amount of money I see people spend on other stuff that I'm like, mental health.
It's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my story. We were always kind of on edge and always concerned of how my depression would appear in postpartum. And it actually, interestingly, like Sven didn't tell me beforehand, he told me after that's actually been a thought on his mind for many years because we were together about 7 years before we got married, before we got pregnant.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was actually at the back of his mind more than mine.
Interesting.
Of like, how will Mel manage this?
Yeah.
Like, how will Mel manage the lack of sleep?
Yes.
How will Mel manage, if I'm a highly sensitive person, how will she manage the overstimulation? How will she manage it depression-wise?
Yeah.
And because we've touched this again before, I've always wanted to be a mum. I'm also very aware of there are women that have always wanted to be mums, but then when they become mums, it's not what they expected.
Yeah.
And depression or anxiety or both kind of get in the way of them enjoying and being really present in motherhood.
Yeah.
So in my journal, like my pregnancy journal, I actually did write asking myself, like just checking in and saying, I may not enjoy this.
Interesting.
Only because that's what people have said, not because of how I felt at all. I loved pregnancy and I was really looking forward to motherhood, but I was like, there may be a possibility that I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, very lucky, my depression did not manifest in that way.
Yep.
There was never a sense, no matter how hard it got, and even Sven and I talked about this many times, we had the difficult birth, we had the birth trauma, we had the latching issues, we had a colicky baby, so he'd be screaming, crying for hours. Nothing would comfort him. The breastfeeding, the pain, the challenges. We had a very, very difficult postpartum, but no matter how hard it was, we were always obsessed with him.
Yeah.
So the way that my depression manifested, and this may be triggering for people, but I want people to hear it because even as a therapist it happens.
Yes.
Is for me, it came on really fast.
Okay.
So it came on because I was in survival mode, and I was surviving well because I was still getting outside. Sven was very present. We were communicating. Even with a colicky baby and scream crying for 5 hours, we would just like tap each other out.
Yes.
And we were very honest with each other that it's just like, okay, I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm starting to get aggressive. So also being very honest with each other of no shame when we felt aggression.
Yeah. How are we really feeling in this moment? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, Sven, I'm feeling really aggressive towards the baby. You have to take the baby.
Right.
Because like when they scream for 5 hours in a row, like you're going crazy. So it's like, please take him because I'm scared of what I'm going to do.
Right.
So he would have to take him, and then vice versa. Sometimes Sven would be like, okay, Mel, you have to take him back because I'm losing my mind because it's like 2 a.m. and I have not slept. So yeah, we would just tag team, like, okay, tap out. And it was like really helpful. And of course, like there were snippets that we would like snap at each other, but then we would easily come back together.
Yeah.
Because we knew it was just from exhaustion and just having the screaming. It just kind of makes you go crazy. So yeah, and I wouldn't even classify that as the depression because I knew that it wasn't getting to the point of me actually. It was like a moment. It was like the invasive thoughts.
Yeah.
It was like, quick, hand over. And if I was home alone, it was like, okay, you're going in the bassinet. I'm going to go wash my face.
Yes.
I'm going to come back.
Yes.
And every time I did that, it was easy for me to do. I also do come from, like, my childhood there was a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
There was spanking, there was yelling. It was very tough and rough. So I'm healing that in myself and in my motherhood. So that's also like a template that I have in my brain.
Of course, yeah.
So that's what they say, shark music. It's like when I hear wailing or screaming for too long, it triggers in me the things that I had done to me as a child. So I'm learning as a parent it's okay to step away and let them cry for like 2 minutes.
Yes.
Because they're safer in there than they are with me right now.
Yeah.
And then I come back. And so I didn't even classify that as the depression. That's more other stuff that I've got that I'm working on with a therapist.
Yeah.
Constant. But the depression came, and I mentioned this before, and it's not because of them. It's just because there were people in my space. So I'm acknowledging this time, and they've acknowledged it too, which is amazing and so beautiful. But like the importance of your sacred space in postpartum.
Yes.
So my in-laws came really early, and they didn't stay with us because I already knew that wasn't a good idea. But it was just extra people around.
Yeah.
And so I was still trying to establish breastfeeding at that time. Of course, I never thought it would take that long. / never happened. So around 5-6 weeks, I started cocooning more. And I started I actually honestly can only really think of 2 days where it got really dark, and that's when I caught it. So I caught it really early, I think.
Yeah.
So it was at nighttime, and I started just thinking that they would be better off without me.
Yeah.
And all of these thoughts were like, Sven could find another woman that would not have these issues, that would be easier, that would be able to breastfeed any future children, that would be present. So the breastfeeding was a massive thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I can't even do that basic thing. So it's like, if, he'd be able to find someone that can breastfeed, he can find someone that, could birth vaginally. So it was all like, all of those thoughts of like everything that I failed in inverted commas is like, he could find someone better for future children, and then my child, C, would be better off with that person, and that they would be better off without me. And I actually was envisioning where I would go, what I would do, how I would end it. And then it was just kind of like repeating that darkness. And it was honestly like a day. So it wasn't long, because some people live like this for a long time.
I know. It's absolutely terrifying.
Because the thoughts, the thoughts were even saying to me, you don't deserve to tell anyone. You're such a, piece of shit. Like, you don't deserve to tell anyone how you're feeling. It's this is all you're doing anyway. And then that's when therapist me was like, no, Mel, this is really bad.
Yeah. And who did you call?
And it was very hard. I don't remember where C was. I don't know if he was asleep, because at this stage as well, even though we were only a few weeks in, because I was pumping and Sven was with the in-laws, I don't remember if C was with them or if he was in a crib or he was somewhere. So he wasn't on me in this moment.
Yeah.
I called Nurtured Medical, the doctor's office that I knew was more, so it's a GP, a general practitioner, but they're specialised in families, mother's health, children, and they only just really started at the time, which I didn't only know until now.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to them and I left a message. I actually called the receptionist. She answered. I was crying on the phone. She was beautiful. And I said, I'm so sorry to put this on you. Like, you don't deserve this as for a receptionist, you're not a therapist, and I'm sorry to put this on you.
Yeah.
But I'm having very dark, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And she said, that's okay. You're doing an amazing job. She gave me helplines if I needed them.
Yeah.
I said to her, I'm okay. 'Cause as a therapist, like, I have those lines. I have that. Thank you.
Yes.
She said, I'm going to speak to the doctor and get back to you. And the doctor actually called me that day. And
Yeah.
I know how busy the doctors are.
Yeah.
So the fact that the doctor found time to call me, we spoke over the phone, so I had like a telehealth.
Yep.
And we immediately got a plan. They suggested a hospital that I could go to. They were highly suggesting it, but I was like, no, to be honest, having said it, I felt safer.
Yes, because you're not alone anymore.
Yes.
Somebody else knows what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then she was like, do you feel you could tell your husband? And I was like, I think so. And we did talk about medication, and I said, look, I'm totally open to medication, but let's see how we go, because it is really early stages.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had been going through this for a few months, again, with what I do for work, I would definitely consider it.
Yeah.
But because it was only like a week or a couple of days, I was like, let's just see it. Also, hormones at that time, wild.
Yeah.
After I got off the phone with her, I called Sven. Sven was in the car with his parents. So I asked him to just listen to me, like either pull over or something, I don't remember. But he did. He got on the phone with me, and I told him, Sven, I'm really sorry to put this on you.
Yep.
I'm having suicidal thoughts. I'm very, very dark place.
Yeah.
I have talked to a doctor. I'm going to be seeing a psychologist soon. So she put me in touch with a psychologist.
Yeah.
I just need you to know that that's where I am.
Yeah.
My mum, actually, I remember, my mum was home.
Yeah.
So she was probably helping me with C. So I told my mum too.
Yes.
And then I did request that no one else I said like Sven asked, can my parents know?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, they can know, but I'd rather them not ask me questions.
Or talk to you about it or add to your,
So I just can't talk about it right now.
No.
And I was like, I couldn't talk to Sven about it. I couldn't talk to Mum about it. I was like, I need to talk to a therapist about this.
And the last thing you need is to be worrying about how someone else is going to react to what someone else, thinking about protecting someone else's feelings at a time when you need so much support.
Yeah. So honestly, once I started getting help and once everything kind of went back into the routine of things, it almost kind of totally went away, almost.
Yeah.
So suicidal ideation and suicidal thoughts did leave.
Yes. Yeah.
Completely. Invasive thoughts as well, gone. So I didn't need the medication, and I did have ongoing therapy.
So tell me about talk therapy. It's only accessing a certain part of the brain, isn't it?
Yeah. So talk therapies are the most common therapies used, especially in Australia.
Yeah.
However, it primarily only accesses the neocortex, the front part of the brain. So what happens is when I ask you a question, your brain tries to find the information. So it goes top down.
Yes.
And then the information that comes back up is filtered through, let's say, cognitive biases, justifications to protect us.
Yeah.
To say, I had to do this. So let's say if you're talking about anxiety, it's like, but I had to do that.
Yes.
So the challenge of verbal therapy is that you may even hold yourself back unconsciously to say things to a therapist.
Yeah.
However, experiential therapies, let's say like psychodrama or Gestalt therapy or art therapy or our method, the play of life.
Yes.
You show.
Yeah.
So in our method, we, instead of saying tell me more, we say show me. And it's very uncomfortable for some people because it challenges their internal narrative.
And kind of exposes how they truly feel about something which they may not even be aware of.
Yeah, exactly. So it can either validate, which I say to my clients, awesome. And if it doesn't validate, like, whoa. So sometimes I do it after a therapy session, a verbal therapy session to either validate or see if there's anything else coming up.
Yeah.
I use it with Span as well. But it's just for people to know that it's something we don't talk about much, but it's when you're looking for a therapist, the therapist is meant to work for you.
Yeah.
We forget that. We just go, and if we don't like it or if it doesn't feel right, we just don't go again. It is a very vulnerable place. Totally understand that. But it's the same as if you go to a bad hairdresser, you're not going to go back there. You take a while to find the right one for you. The same with mental health.
Yes.
And yes, it's really vulnerable, like you have to open up. But that's why I invite people, ask questions to your therapist, like what therapies do you use, you know?
Yes.
Do you only use verbal therapies, you know? Ask them, do you see a supervisor? Do you see a therapist yourself? Or have you been in therapy?
Yeah.
And if they say, I don't feel like answering that, or that's my personal thing, maybe they're not the right person for you then.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, they should be telling you.
Yeah.
They should say, yes, I have done therapy in the past.
Yes.
That's the extent they have to go. They don't have to
Of course. No. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, they're human.
Yes.
So, yeah, the only other thing I really wanted to say about the postpartum depression journey was because I'm so open about it as a therapist and a highly sensitive person and a 4 in the Enneagram, so which means I'm more sensitive, melodramatic, expressive. I talk about it with people kind of like, you know, just who I am, you know, like this is how my nose looks like and this is me with depression. Like it's for me, it's just part of who we are.
Yeah.
Kind of to break taboos.
Yes.
And what I have found is that the older generation finds it still very uncomfortable to talk about these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I would talk about my depression, I never intend to say it like I have it worse.
No.
Never. My intention is just to say it, to name it. Like I've got a flu, like I've got right now. I've got a croaky voice. I've got depression. You know, I've got this cloak.
Yeah.
And hopefully invite someone to say, yeah, me too.
Yes.
But yeah, the older generation, I've had people say to me, you're a bit dramatic, or like it's a bit much. Like not every woman goes through that. And I'm like, no, not every woman goes through it. But what was it, 20%?
So 1 in 5 will have a formal diagnosis.
Formal, yeah.
So how many more people are suffering in silence if 20% have a on-paper diagnosis of postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety?
And let's take into account as well, talking about attachment theory, avoidant attachments.
Yes.
Avoidance means I disassociate and I think everything is fine. Yeah. I've had clients with avoidant attachment just call themselves delusional. And I'm just like, that's a good way to put it, to be honest. You know, and anxious, we can be a bit, you know, we have different words for it, you know, make fun of it. Yes. But if you have someone who is highly avoidant, they could have anxiety and depression and just say, I'm fine, but they're not. Yeah. And I've seen that. Yeah. As a therapist, as a friend, as a family member, I have seen it. Yes. And I'm like, that's something. So I've said to this older generation people, like pretty much every single mum I know, whether that's older generation or a present generation, has had either depression or anxiety. Like I don't really know any that has escaped its throes. No. Genuinely. And I think maybe one.
mental illness does not discriminate. There's so, I have absolutely no shame. There should be no shame. And I think our generation is breaking that kind of stigma by having conversations like this and talking about it. But I do think there are people in the older generation that still carry shame,
yes,
and that things should be unspoken. But, when things are hidden in the dark, they grow.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be able to open up the conversation, shed light, have a situation where people can reach out and ask for the help that they need and deserve. And it's just, I think, it's powerful to have conversations like this. And we have conversations like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so, so grateful for that, because I know I can say anything to you and you will never judge me. You will help me and guide me and say, Sarah, I think you might need a bit more help than you think you need right now.
Yeah.
But it's just said with so much care and love.
Yeah. Or sometimes I think you even look for my reaction of like, is that bad, Mel?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah. I think it helps that we don't have like that. It helps that I'm not anxious too. Because if I was, I'd be like, that's normal.
But that's the thing. And that's just one other thing I love so much about our friendship. For example, last week, we were all sick. Our boys were sick. We were sick. And I was by myself because Rowan was away, and I was having a really hard time. And I called Mel and I just said, I need to borrow your non-anxious brain for 2 minutes. And I said, this is what our symptoms are. This is, this is my plan. I've taken to a GP. Does that sound right to you? Because my brain is like, go to the emergency room now. And, it helps so much to be able to sense check with someone that doesn't have the same experience,
Yeah. Yeah. And also maybe mum brain too, because it's just like with men, they can sometimes be more chill about things.
Yeah.
So maybe it helps also to like call another mum.
Yeah.
To be like, would you be concerned? Because I said to you, to be honest, I would be concerned.
Oh, we obviously were.
However,
I would to the GP.
But I would still just monitor.
Yeah.
But I think it's something with the older generation as well. And this is for anyone who's pregnant or expecting or in the new throes. It may surprise you that your dynamic with the older generation may change.
Yeah.
And you may not feel heard or seen or held in the way that you were previously.
Yeah.
And so that's just something to acknowledge, because they weren't held.
No.
They weren't allowed to talk about it. They had to keep going.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it worked. There was a lot of arguments, sometimes in couples. There was couple breakups. There was a lot of yelling. There could have been an explosion in menopause or perimenopause. So it doesn't mean that, or as parents, they weren't regulated because they weren't held.
Yeah.
And so the power for us to hold ourselves now is that we don't then have to tell our story later.
Yeah. Exactly.
They didn't get to say theirs, so they have to say it now, which sometimes feels like it takes away from us.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of our childhood too. In our generation. I'm not just saying us, I'm just saying our generation.
Yeah.
So that's why if we talk about it and we get help ourselves, our children don't have to carry it.
Yes.
And that way, if our children do go through it, the extent of which we could say is, oh, my darling, I totally, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
And I am here with you.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, yeah, I had that too, and making it about us. It's like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yes.
What do you need?
Yeah.
What a gift that we could give that for future generations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I just wanted to say as well on top of that. And yeah, let's do all this work so that we can be present for our babies. And it does get better. I was saying as well that I was in the car just a couple of weeks ago, and I was by myself in the car, and I just had a moment of just pure joy, elation, and just, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be his mum. I'm happy to be Sven's wife. And I'm happy that I get to go home and I know that they'll be happy to see me.
Yeah.
And that is a massive polar shift from they deserve better than me.
And you said to me the other day, you said, they're so lucky to have me.
Yeah.
Which is incredible and so true.
Yeah. But it was like, And it almost makes me cringe saying that because, like, I can't say that stuff about myself. But in that moment, like, I felt like that.
Yes.
And I just remember thinking I had the spiritual guidance person years ago. I've seen so many people in this world. So it's like someone, and they were amazing. And they said, anchor those moments in your life. When you have a beautiful, beautiful moment, anchor it as like, this is what I want my life to be. It's not going to be all the time.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful, we call it, pillar that can hold me up. And also not anchor it, but to remember not to let it hold us, but to acknowledge where we have been as a kind of warning sign where we can go there again, but also as a gratitude that we're not there anymore.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's my little reminder. So, yeah, next week we're going to be talking about sleep and all that we experienced in the first year or so, although sleep is still not linear.
No.
All we will say is we both did not expect to co-sleep.
True. Yeah.
That'll be our little teaser. But we learned a lot about sleep and attachment, I think.
Absolutely. And just expectations of what normal infant sleep is like.
I know, we don't talk about it enough.
No. And how, you know, we have both chosen to nurture at night, and how there are still parts of society that think that, you know, parental care should shut down at 7 p.m. and start up again at 7 a.m. And it's just, Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next week and all that encompasses too.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. If you've listened this long, thank you. And if anything we're saying resonates with you, if you're a new mum, if you have a new mum in your life or a new dad, everyone deserves help. Mental illness does not discriminate. There is so much help available. There's free help available. You can go to your GP. You can call a helpline. We'll put all of this in the caption. And there's so much light and love on the other side of mental illness, and you deserve that and are worthy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.